Welcome to the Musicians Creating Prosperity podcast. I'm Dr. Fabiana, and in today's video, we're going to talk about how you can change your brain's neuroplasticity so that you can create new habits, you can create new perspectives, and you can change the way your life looks because of the way you think. Let's dive in. Welcome to the Musicians Creating Prosperity podcast. In today's episode, we're going to talk about neuroplasticity. You see, if you've ever felt stuck in old habits and you've told yourself, this is how I usually act, and perhaps you felt disappointed in your past actions or past beliefs, I'm here to tell you that you can change it. There's a phenomenon called neuroplasticity, which essentially explains that our brain can be rewired based on different habits and different behaviors. We do not have to fixate on a specific way of thinking or acting. We have the ability to change our beliefs and rewire our brain from a physical standpoint, not only an intellectual standpoint. I've met people in their late 60s and 70s who've acquired new habits and who've been able to start learning things that would have otherwise felt impossible. How is that possible? Because there's neuroplasticity happening. Our brains have ways of rewiring the connections based on the new behaviors. So many musicians that I speak to and creatives, they tend to hold on to an identity of this is how I make decisions, this is how I act. And especially when it comes to thinking about past behaviors and past mistakes, this notion that if you failed in the past, you're likely to fail again, or if you have not shown the discipline that you needed in other circumstances, the chances are you may lack that discipline in a future circumstance. That mindset of holding on to past mistakes and past behaviors is what actually keeps you stuck. When you don't understand this concept of neuroplasticity, then you may continue believing that the way you have been doing things is the way you're going to be doing them in the future. Neuroplasticity shows that from a scientific standpoint, our brains can be rewired as long as we create different patterns of behavior. And why is this important? Because when you realize that just like you perhaps acquired old habits that kept you stuck, you can change those by creating new plans, creating new habits, and deciding that you're going to do things differently. And ultimately, those new patterns become the norm. They become the way your brain is designed, and it makes everything else feel like history, really. So if you've ever thought about how you may have evolved from a poor habit that you had in the past to a new habit that you adopted in the present or that you've been wanting to adopt, thinking that you actually have the physical ability to change your brain's physiology based on your habits is a very empowering thing. So I want you to think about what are some things that perhaps for you, you may have been telling yourself, oh, I'm someone who doesn't like the mornings, for example, right? Or I'm someone who doesn't like to talk to people or who's an introvert. And obviously these are personality traits that are part of your personality, but that doesn't mean you cannot explore a different way of behaving, right? Or you cannot explore a different way of changing those beliefs, changing those patterns. I personally remember growing up, I used to not be a morning person myself. I used to be someone who liked to sleep in late and just take it easy and slow in the mornings. And now I've changed my habits, I've changed my behaviors, and I actually love early rises. I love waking up in the morning before everyone else. Perhaps it's because of the stage in life that I'm in. I'm a mom of two boys. I have a 5-year-old and a 10-year-old. And a husband and like 2 businesses and a busy and full life that I didn't have when I was growing up, right? Things were a lot slower paced. Things were less pressure, less responsibility perhaps. And to a certain extent, it was easier for me to kind of sleep in the mornings. But when life changed, I had to change too. And so in order to adapt to the stresses, to the overwhelm, to the crowdiness of the day-to-day life, personally for me, early mornings are my favorite time because I can wake up before everyone else. I can take some time for myself, do my wellness and mindfulness practices, exercise, sauna, drink water, just take some time to breathe and to enjoy myself. And that's actually my favorite time of the day. So go figure, right? If I would have held on to the belief that, oh, I'm not a morning person, I probably would feel very burned out right now with the busy life that I have. And especially knowing that as soon as my kids wake up, they want attention. They want me to take care of them. They want me to, prepare breakfast, do this, do that. And I'm immediately putting myself in a place of serving, which I love, but I also need time for myself. Think in your life, where are the moments that you may have been adopting an identity and telling yourself, I am a whatever person, or I don't usually like to do this? And start asking yourself, what if that wasn't true? What if you actually could change your patterns and change those habits so that your brain actually starts embracing those new beliefs and you actually can choose what are the behaviors that in the past you thought you couldn't do that now you can. So let's talk about a different skill now. In addition to this idea of neuroplasticity, I want you to think about shifting your belief from a scarcity to a prosperity mindset. And I've got a million episodes on mindset, but I do feel like it's important to insert this little pocket of mindset into today's episode since we're talking about the brain development. We're talking about how we can think, how we can change our behaviors. Most of the times, if you are looking at your situation and you're emphasizing what you don't have, and you're looking at evidence of gaps, lack, evidence of not enough opportunity or possibility, I certainly know that for most musicians, when you're finishing your career and like academia, going through education and getting the conventional bachelor's, master's, doctorate degrees, one of the looming and impending fears is that there are no jobs out there when you graduate. And I experienced it firsthand. I remember having that cold bucket of shower, cold shower, if you will, cold bucket feeling of, oh, I did all these degrees and now there's no jobs waiting for me when I finish. Now what am I going to do? To a certain extent, ignorance is bliss, right? I didn't really know that until the end. So it was just a rude awakening, if you will. But at the same time, knowing that there was no job waiting for me upon graduation forced me to have to become entrepreneurial, to have to figure out a way to create a livelihood for myself, because there was nothing that was going to just be welcoming me and kind of saving me after I finished all these degrees in music. I want you to actually think, what if the things you've been telling yourself are lacking, right? Whether it's opportunities, whether it's money, whether it's desire from your audience, potential from potential clients. I speak to so many musicians who say, oh, I want to put my art into the world. I want to expand my business more. I want to be more visible, but I don't think there's people who want what I have to offer. I don't think there's enough opportunity for me. There's so many people who do what I do. How could I possibly succeed when there's such a crowded, saturated marketplace? That's a mindset of scarcity. And I want to encourage you, as you're listening to this or watching this, ask yourself, where in your life are you potentially buying into that story of scarcity? Where are you telling yourself, there's not enough, I have to just do something else because there's not enough opportunity, there's too many other people doing this, or there's not enough money available? You know, one of the things that I love sharing with my clients is money is everywhere. What? You may be thinking, what are you talking about, Fabiana? Well, here's how I like to see it. Money is everywhere. It's on you to be able to tap into it, to tap into the opportunity, to tap into the strategies and the philosophy and the energy of wealth based on your ideas. If you have ideas, if you have a way of adding value, if you can legitimately solve a problem for people, whether it's through a service, a product, but you have a way of adding your gifts and translating those into a way that will help people, then you will never be unable to create wealth. You will never find that money is scarce because it's going to come down to your creativity. So when you think about your mindset and shifting from a mindset of scarcity to a mindset of prosperity, it's not just telling yourself that there's abundance, that there's prosperity. It's truly believing it. It's believing that you have the potential to disrupt whatever is feeling tight, whatever is feeling scarce, and you can take certain actions that will build opportunity, right? That will create that abundance. It's almost like opening a water faucet. It may look like it's tight. You may think like, oh, I'm just seeing little drips, 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 drips of water. But if you know how to unlock that water faucet, then the abundance of water that's going to come is so much. It's like plentiful. There's an abundance of water. Why do you think money is also referred to as currency? Because it's supposed to flow. It's like a current. It flows. If you can tap into that, if you can find ways to solve problems for people, if you can add value to people, if you can step out of your own fears, limiting beliefs, and say, I actually can create wealth, I can find the time. If you're going from a mindset of scarcity regarding time, also not just money, but time, there's not enough time. I can't do this because I don't have time. I wish I could do this with ABC, XYZ, but time is not available to me. To switch into a mindset of, actually, there's plenty of time. In fact, the same 24 hours in the day that everyone else has. And if I can learn how to use my time smarter, if I can learn how to prioritize on my time, chances are there's no limit to my potential. There's no way that I would ever feel stuck because I know how to use my time wisely. Switching from that mindset of scarcity to prosperity in every area of your life, not just as it relates to wealth, not just as it relates to the time management, but every single area. If you are looking for a partner in your life, if you're trying to find someone to make a life with, same thing. It can feel like, oh, will I ever find the person, right? Will I ever be able to find the love of my life? And the best way you can find that love of your life is by becoming so one and whole with who you are already, that magnetizes people to you, that magnetizes opportunities, that magnetizes coincidences, relationships, networking, and opportunities that can fall into your place. It cannot happen when you're needing that desire. It has to happen when you are believing that it's there, and it's on you to just tap into that and feel that it's possible. So as we shift into this second step of thinking of rewiring your brain and understanding how the way you see the world matters, and the more you tell yourself, I can do this, there are opportunities, there is prosperity available for me, the more your brain's going to find proof of that. And I've talked about that in other episodes. It's called Reticular Activation System, RAS. It basically gives us a signal, a sign of what we tell it to look for. So if you say there's not enough, your brain will find ways to show you that there's not enough. It'll find the most available opportunities to say, yep, you see, this is a proof that there's not enough. Yep, another proof that there's not enough. But if you tell yourself there's more than enough, I just have to tap into it, now your brain is going to try to find ways for that evidence to appear. And you may find coincidences. Oh, this person just called me out of the blue and offered me this thing. Oh, wow, what are the odds? I never thought that could happen. Or, oh, I spoke to someone and I mentioned this, and all of a sudden they came up with an idea. They have a collaboration, they have a relationship, someone to connect me with. Why did that happen? It was not coincidence. It was that you attracted it based on your behaviors, based on your narrative, based on how you speak, based on how you act. And people can feel that energy of confidence, of assertiveness, right? Of belief. And that magnetizes opportunities to you. And then the third thing I want you to think about as we're talking about this process of neuroplasticity and changing your brain, changing your life, is the power of visualization. Visualization is an incredible hack, because when you understand that by you fixating the image of where you want to be, even if your current circumstances show no indication that that's possible, okay? That's the secret. If you are able to have such a clear picture and you come to it on a regular basis, some powerful ways to come to your visualization are meditation, doing any sort of activity that puts you in a state of flow. Obviously, as musicians, playing music puts us in one of the best energetic fields of flow, of creativity, positivity, of acceptance, of service. All the wonderful vibrations that we can embrace on come when we are in a state of being alive through music. But beyond that, you knowing that the more you can touch base with the picture and the image of where you want to go and what you want your life to look like in every area of your life, and not only from a visual standpoint, like visualization, but also from an emotional standpoint. Because when you connect the emotions with the image, that's when you actually start vibrating and feeling that as if it already is real, and acting as if success was guaranteed. So when you combine the idea of knowing that things are possible from a prosperity mindset versus a scarcity mindset, and when I say things, I encompass everything. This is not just about business. It's about your life. It's about your relationship. It's about your health. It's about your time relationship, every single thing in life. And then combining that with envisioning on a regular basis what you want it to look like instead of what it's looking like right now, you're actually going to start channeling that and making decisions based on that next step. And before you know it, you're going to be there already. And you're going to be like, oh my goodness, I cannot believe it. One of the best hacks for creating that practice too is putting yourself in the frequency of gratitude. When you are in a state of gratitude, you are already acknowledging that you have what you wanted and that you are now ready for more. If there's any element in your life right now that is overwhelming you, that is stressing you out, that is potentially causing some sense of anxiety, the number one hack to get out of that energy and to start visualizing where you want to go is gratitude. When you are putting yourself in a feeling of acknowledging where you are and how far you've come and what you have, and just feeling grateful and acknowledging that, it immediately bypasses any sense of anxiety. There's no way these can coexist at the same time in your brain. It's physically impossible. So if you are in a state of anxiety, you cannot be in a state of gratitude. And if you are in a state of gratitude, you cannot be in a state of anxiety. So how about that for an amazing hack? Anytime you feel anxious, just ask yourself, what am I grateful for today? Boom, you're going to get it out. And when you start asking yourself, what am I grateful for today? Then you can start asking the next questions, which are, what else do I want? How else would I like my life to look like? What will that look like? What will that feel like? How can I get to that next step? And your brain starts rewiring the process of complaining, of feeling victim, of feeling stuck, to feeling empowered, to feeling a leader, to feeling like the creator of the life that you need to have. So why are these three things important? Because again, you are who you are until today, but just like your cells are regenerating every single day that you take a shower, you're shedding old skin cells and creating new ones. Just like your digestion is resetting itself every single day. You eat foods, you eliminate them, you start new, you reset yourself. Your brain is doing the exact same thing. And you have the capability of tap into your divine nature, your divine design, and realizing that anything you don't like in your life, you can shed it too, just like you shed your skin in the shower. Anything you don't like, it can be let go. You can change it. You don't have to hold on to whatever it is that is keeping you stuck. You can rewire your brain. You can change your life. So again, to recap these 3 points. Number one, understand what neuroplasticity is all about. Hey, if you want to geek into it, just Google it for some extra fun. I don't care. My point is you are who you are, but tomorrow you can be a completely different person. And 10 years from now, even better. So know that you can change. Don't tell yourself, oh, I'm someone who, fill in the blank. Forget about that statement. Every time you find yourself saying that, I'm someone who, think about who would I want to become instead? How about that for a better exercise? I need to be XYZ in order to reach my goals. In order for this to happen, I need to show up as this. So instead of saying, oh, I do this, I do that, I want to become this person so that I can create this. That's your next hack. The second thing is shift from a scarcity to prosperity mindset. Instead of saying, why can't I do this? Why aren't there enough opportunities? I don't think I can do this. I don't have time. I don't have money. I don't have fill in the blank. Ask yourself, how could I create more time? How could I find the resources that I need to make this decision, to hire this team member, to learn this new skill? How could I? And then the third thing is visualization. Find practices, create routines that allow you to connect into that image every single day. Meditation is one of the best ones. I do that every single day as much as I can, because what meditation actually means is to become familiar, meaning by you meditating, putting yourself in that frequency, you are connecting with that picture of where you want to go and who you need to become in order to get there. And no longer is it this distant thing. It becomes a habit. It becomes familiar. So look for habits where you can put yourself in a state of visualization and also connecting emotionally to that visualization. I hope this helps. Let me know what your takeaways are from today's episode. And as always, make sure you subscribe so that you can continue listening to these episodes and watching us. And of course, if you know anyone else who you think could benefit from what we talk about in this podcast, feel free to share. We would love to hear from you as well. Definitely leave us a review so that we can continue spreading this message to musicians and creatives around the world. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Until next time, let's prosper together.